Well, hey, crafty friends, it's Kari back again on the channel to share another crime scene, true crime file folder card. I just can't stop playing with this true crime set from Missing Stamps, and this has sold out quite a few times, but it's back. If it's not in stock now, it is ready for pre-order and it's on its way. So you can go to the website and order it now. Also, this one here, that's the Whodunnit stamp set that's got lots of fun sentiments and details, as well as some characters that you can use for your true crime scenes. And so today I thought I would do something a little different. And I'm going to bring in some of these images from the Duct stamp set. This is an older stamp set, but still one of my favorites because the sentiments are so funny. And I'm going to bring in a piece of metallic silver cardstock so that I can stamp one of those rolls of duct tape on it. Now, I thought I would try archival ink, but I think the StazOn ink is actually going to work better for this because it is a slick surface, very slick, and also regular ink could just wipe off very easily. So I'm going to try the StazOn ink on this. But before I do, I'm going to refill it. I have a refill here, and it seems that every time I use this stamp pad, which isn't really that often, truthfully, but every time I do use it, it feels like I need to give it a little extra ink. So I'm just going to add a little to the top here, all over the top, and then spread it out with a scrap piece of cardstock, just a little bit to help that to integrate into the pad. And then I'm going to go ahead and stamp that onto my silver cardstock. That's looking good there. I'm just going to double stamp it just to make sure I get all of those images, the lines, and that's going to look good there. Now I'm going to set this aside to dry for a really long time. I'm also going to use my heat gun to encourage that ink to dry. But before I cut it out, I am going to give it a little time to dry on there. So now that it's dry, I'm going to go ahead and fussy cut around those, and I'm cutting pretty close to the lines, just leaving a little bit of a border so I don't have to have it perfectly cut. But that's easy enough to do, and I'm going to add those to this file folder. Now, if you didn't see how I made this file folder card base, I will link my other project that I did, and I explained exactly how to make this using the envelope punch board. So if you have that, it's really easy to create a file folder card and so fun to do. So I'll link that here and also in the description. Hopefully I can remember to do that. Now I've stamped off these crime scene tapes on some yellow cardstock, and I've stamped it in black ink, and that gives me such a good contrast that I really love how that turned out. So I always like to do that. You can emboss it with some clear embossing powder if you want to. Today I just stamped it with some black ink on yellow card. I'm just going to glue that down, and then I'm going to take one of the sentiments from the Duct stamp set and stamp it here. I'm testing it out first to make sure I like it, just testing out the placement. I'm going to use some VersaFine Onyx black ink, and this is a fun sentiment. It says, "Life status, currently holding it all together with duct tape." And that is truthfully how my life feels right now. We've had some medical emergencies in my family, and so trying to get everyone taken care of and helped out. Lots of hospital visits lately. So I am seriously just barely holding it together with some duct tape here. I think this comes in handy for many times in our lives. I really like this sentiment. Now I'm going to stamp one of the fingerprints from that true crime stamp set. I started out with some Lost Shadow ink, but I thought that was too light, so instead I'm going to go in with a darker gray and stamp that, but it's still, I mean, it's pretty light. You can barely see it. I think this is pumice stone. It might be iced spruce. And then I'm going to take the Spatter stencil, and I'm going to stencil on some of that same gray ink. And that's going to give this some more interest and textural design, but it's a nice light shade so it doesn't take over the entire project either. A lot of designers have been using this with some red ink, so you can certainly do that if you want. That would add a little bit of gruesome to this card. And now I think that's going to look great just like that. So I'm going to attach the rolls of duct tape with some foam adhesive. I'm just using some squares and adding that to the front of the card. And then I'm going to stamp out another one of the sentiments from this stamp set that says, "That's how I roll." And I'm just going to stamp it on a piece of white cardstock, just a scrap piece. I am going to cut it out and round off those corners so it will fit on my file folder tab. And then I'm also going to cut down a piece of cardstock to fit on the inside of this card. Just like that. So that fits perfectly in there. And we can stamp a sentiment on the inside too. So again, I'm taking that same stamp set to stamp the inside sentiment. And I'm just going to stamp it with some black ink. And this particular sentiment says, "Best friends give you duct tape, rope, and a shovel and don't ask questions." So this is a great card for a best friend. And now let's go ahead and let that dry while we round the corners of the smaller sentiment. That's how I roll. I'm just going to round those there just like that and add that to the file folder. And this is going to fit perfectly together like that. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that inside the file folder using some liquid adhesive. We'll glue on the other little mini sentiment as well. And as I was doing this, I thought, wait a minute, there's a perfect other stamp set that I could bring in to add to the inside of the file folder. But take a look here at how it looks so far. I love the shininess of the duct tape, and there's the inside that you can see, and that's when I thought, okay, let's bring out this other stamp set, and it's this one right here. It's called Bury the Body, and it's got a little shovel that will be perfect for the inside next to the sentiment that we've already stamped. So you can stamp it underneath like that, but I kind of like it on the left side. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp it with some gray ink, the same gray ink that I used on the front. So we'll stamp that down just like that. And I think that adds just the perfect finishing touch on that inside panel. There we go. So there's our file folder. I wanted to hold it together with a little paper clip. So I have a little gray paper clip that I think matches really great. And there's our little file folder card. It's really fun for a little whodunit or true crime scene card. I hope you enjoyed it today. I really enjoyed creating this with you, and I'll be back real soon with more card inspiration and more things to share. So stick around. We'll see you next time. Thanks so much. If you did enjoy this video, by the way, give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to leave a comment. We really appreciate it. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.